There's a question here about engaging in social activities, especially in the school setting, and that's something that speaks to an issue that was brought up earlier. Many children are quite successful interacting with their parents or their therapists or their cousins when they're getting together, or their siblings. But at school, it's sort of busy, there's lots of kids, there's often less direct support for social interaction, so it's more difficult. If you have a good educational team in place in the school, you can tell them what works with your child. Sometimes just introducing two kids to a game. Like if I consult to daycares and preschools, what I often do is go in and do an observation, then I'll speak to the primary daycare provider to give them some ideas about how I think that child will cope in that setting, right? So there's this technique called stay, play, and walk away, where you basically introduce an activity that is of interest to two kids or three kids. You start the activity, you show the child how to engage in that activity, and then once they're doing it successfully, then you walk away, right? So that's one way it can be done directly in the school or daycare setting. The other thing that I encourage parents to do, once you have a child who is socially interested, has reasonable communication skills, and once you've sort of identified some possible peers, like a family friend or a cousin or something like that, neighbor, have a play date. But have a play date that's a very specific kind of play date. So you want to teach the child how to play with other kids, and the best way for you to do that is for you to be in there and doing it. So what I encourage parents to do is to have a short play date that is around a shared activity that both kids are going to enjoy. So for example, inviting a friend over to make cupcakes. Mom or dad is in the room doing, sort of guiding the whole interaction. You give your kid a certain amount of coaching before it takes place to tell them, little Johnny's coming over, you guys are going to do this, this, and this. This is how we play with our friends. Remember, you have to give him a choice and he gets to go first or whatever. Give him all of those rules. Then when they come in, you can help support the communication and the socialization that takes place. So you set a very clear schedule, you make it known to the child and to the other child's parents, for example. So we're going to start by doing cupcakes, and then we're going to play Lego together. It's not a play date where you invite a kid over and you drop them in the basement and go away. That doesn't work. You have to be right in there and doing it, and then eventually, as your child becomes more skilled at interacting and sharing and playing collaboratively with their friends, then you can sort of back off.
What you want also to start doing is do what we call peer-mediated play. So instead of you helping your kid through the activities, you help the other little kids engage your child, stay with him. So oftentimes, little Billy will go up to the friend and say, want to play blocks? So he asked a friend to play, and then what happens? Johnny walks away because kids, no. Or he says no. Typical kids are unpredictable, and then you're like, okay, there goes 4 months of coaching that I just did with that kid. So one approach that really, really works is to do peer-mediated play. So instead of coaching the autistic child, I'm going to coach the other ones. You stay, you play, and you talk. That's with 3 to 5-year-olds. With older kids, it's called tracks, and every letter means something. I don't remember all of them, but try again, reinforce, stay, prompt, like all those things. And we actually teach the peer group those things. And what happens is wonderful is first you build awareness of, and tolerance in the other kids. So we'll see often less bullying, less intimidation behaviors, things like that. And they kind of take care of the kid. But also you have to say, you're not the mommy. You're there to play with your friend. So it works really well to use that approach. And we're trying to get the training manuals here so that we can help the teachers in the preschools and in the schools to do that. So, but I really like that approach because it's a lot easier for me to coach a classroom of kids to take care of the child, because I can't do it all the time as a teacher, right? So I find that's a really positive approach.
I'm going to go back. Before all of this happens, the child has to have the language to be able to engage in that social interaction.
That's right.
So they have to know what language they can use to let somebody know that it's their turn. So they have to be able to say my turn. They have to say Michael's turn. They have to be able to say let's start the game, or can I play, or I'm done, all finished, or let's play something else. They have to have a core set of vocabulary and a core set of social communicative routines before they can function well in a peer group. So make sure that's all set up before you try to move to socialization.